This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, because you know what time it is. It's full time
MMA.
In a recent interview with the McFly, Conor McGregor was cutting weight, and he said, I fell out of love with the game. And he talked about being stripped of his UFC titles, and he seemed a little pissed off about that. But that's not the only thing from this interview. We're going to read a little bit of what Conor McGregor said. He also talked about the addition of a 165-pound weight class. He talked about how weight cutting affects these fighters and how it affects your performance. And he said, he pointed out boxing's got a lot more weight classes, and it's a health thing, man. We need to get these weight classes in here, and that's the movement we've been seeing a lot lately. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of talk of adding these new weight classes, and with someone as influential and as big as Conor McGregor calling for it, I mean, I already think it was coming, but I just think it'll be here even sooner rather than later. And we've been seeing Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz damn near calling for the 165-pound title or bust. Nate Diaz is like, if Poirier don't want to fight at 165, then I'm out. And they both announced they're fighting for 165 title. So if the UFC don't put that thing in place soon, they might lose a big fight that I'm sure they would love to have Nate Diaz back. So we'll see what happens on that situation. We'll talk about that another day. But either way, that 165-pound division, Conor McGregor's calling for it now too. But other than that, man, this is a little bit of what he had to say in the interview. You know, they asked him about why he hasn't really been doing as much media and stuff heading up for this fight, and he said, I don't owe anybody answers for anything. I'm here for the love of this game, love for competition. I fell out of love with the game for a bit. I went off and did my own thing, had plenty of things going on. Now I'm back. I'm hungry to compete, and we're here, right on the cusp of it, making weight and handling media obligations, and that's it. The fans have just missed me compete like I've missed me compete also. We all get what we want on October 6th. McGregor back inside the famous UFC octagon. I spent my entire life's work to win those 2 UFC titles. I set out for a goal. I put absolutely everything into it. I sacrificed so much to gain those world titles, and then as soon as I won the second world title, I hadn't been offered a featherweight contest, and the featherweight title was taken off me and was handed back to a man I had a crazy history with. I traveled the world with him. It was a 2-year build-up, and he ended up pulling out last minute. When I ended up fighting him, I knocked him out in 13 seconds, and they gave him the belt back as soon as I walked outside the octagon in Madison Square Garden, and then what? About a month or 2 later, the lightweight belt was stripped from me also. These things irritated me. Seeing what way it goes, who the belts are given to, see who the people are, who are challenging for the belts, and who the person who has the belt is facing to get the belt. Many things irritated me in the game, and watching it all unfold, I just became a lot more hungry to come back and show who the real king is. Conor then went on to talk about some of the fights that he almost took on short notice, but the UFC felt like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. They felt like there wasn't enough time to really promote the fights properly for Conor McGregor to take on short notice. The fight with Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway, you know, they both needed short notice opponents not too long ago, and McGregor was ready to go, man. McGregor, you know, he fought Chad Mendes on short notice when he was supposed to fight Aldo, stayed in, different style opponent, and fought Chad Mendes. It was a tough fight, but he was able to win that matchup. So Conor McGregor has shown willingness to fight short notice opponents for sure. And especially if it's a guy that he's wanted to fight for a while. Or a guy like Max Holloway, who he has a win over, but now he's beat everybody since then, and now he's the champion. And maybe he wanted to come back and get that featherweight strap that he was stripped of, he felt early. So Conor McGregor said it was only a couple of days on from it, so I said 155 for that one, but they refused me because they anticipated it would have cost them too much money to show up without having too much time to promote. However, I was willing to take a pay cut. I'm not in this for the money. Of course, I'm not going to fight for less than what I'm worth, but in those instances, I would have. I just wanted to get in there and compete. Frankie was supposed to fight Max, and I have a history with Frankie. We were linked many times, so I thought it was going to be a perfect opportunity. They turned it down because they thought it was going to cost too much. I was willing to take a pay cut. Then Dos Anjos fight later on. It was an interim 170 belt in Rio de Janeiro, May 5th. I reached out again. Let's take this contest, but let's not the same error happen in the Frankie contest. Let's discuss. I was willing to take a pay cut. Even for this one, UFC 229, with the pay-per-view, it's going to be tasty, but I'm not here for the money. I wanted to compete those times. I missed the game back then. That didn't happen. Obviously, the situation arose with this next opponent in my team. It got a little bit more personal, just a lot more personal, to be honest with you, and now we are here. AKA, this shit is deeper than rap. Yeah, it's gonna be a big payday, but I'm ready to come back. I fucking love this game, and I can't wait to fucking silence that glass-jawed rat. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I had a flashback to the UFC 229 press conference. But with that being said, holy shit, you guys. Oh, UFC 229 is less than 4 days away now. It is Tuesday. I mean, the fights are this Saturday. UFC 229. Wow, I can't even, guys. So with that being said, it is what it is. Let the Full Time family know what you think in the comments.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!